5 goals in 5 Premier League games for Manchester United. That's a problem, and Ruud van Nistelrooy is the solution. But how far has this former Manchester United goal poacher gone in terms of making us more clinical? Welcome to the United Sport. My name is Webb. This is the United Sport, and ahead of our game against FC20, the former club that our boss Eric Ten Hag played for, I'm here to give you an update on what's happening in terms of solving this goal drought, I should say. And you might wonder how that is a goal drought when you've just beaten Barnsley by 7 goals to nothing. But listen, guys, we all know it. I mean, 5 goals in five is not enough. Remember, our goal difference is 0. Man United has scored 5 and conceded as many in the English Premier League in 5 games in the English Premier League. Now, Man City, who are topping the log, have conceded only 3 goals. They have scored over, I think 11 is it. Then they've scored actually 13. Liverpool have scored I think 10 and conceded only once. Arsenal have scored 8 and conceded 3. So you can see the teams we are trying to compete with, and I know many of you feel that Man United is good enough a squad to compete for the title. I saw that in the comment section, which I don't really disagree with. It's not about the squad not being good enough in terms of personnel. I think it's the time they need to get to a level where we can be more clinical, bury our chances that we create, and get there to competitive levels. Even the mentality now for Man United is not for title winners. It needs to take time. You need to get close before you can get there. But let's talk about the goal scoring problem. We know that our forwards are really scoring decently, the likes of Amad Diallo, Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford, and no wonder they have created a headache for Eric Ten Hag. That is good, really, not one we are complaining about in terms of who should be starting and who should be on the bench. But the thing is, if we are to judge by the last Premier League game against Crystal Palace, I think we certainly have got now to work on being clinical. Yes, we've made amends, we've made progress in terms of being sharp, in terms of creating opportunities, in terms of creativity, because that as well was a big problem for Manchester United. We are not scoring enough goals because we are not creating enough chances. Now that 5 games into the season, that's the Premier League, because many of you say our success for Man United should be finishing in the top four. If that is going to happen, we need goals. Now, for me, I think we've progressed in terms of creating chances. That is a problem solved, and we've been doing it consistently since preseason. I mean, preseason games are negligible; they're not important, but I'll mention them because yes, that's the fact. We've seen a consistent pattern of improvement in terms of creating chances. Our wingers are more creative. It's sad that Bruno is not as creative. He was our most creative player last season. But just as Ahmad and Garnacho and Marcus Rashford are becoming more creative, Bruno is sort of going to bed. But maybe, I mean, the captain will always come up and show up when he's got to, that, won't he? So the reality is we are better in terms of creating goal scoring opportunities. But now, how can we do it? Ruud van Nistelrooy in the history of Manchester United, and you can bet your nut on that. I think what is the most clinical striker we've had. He was, in fact, called a goal poacher because of his style. He was mostly in the right place at the right time and never would miss a chance to bury a goal. Now, he of all people is the right striker, a role model for all these young lads to show them how to bury so many chances they are creating. And he has said this several times that is why he was brought here to help these young strikers to fulfill their potential by burying chances, but first, of course, by creating them, which they have done because he's the manager or the coach handling the final third. So you see the progress being made. But you see, in the Premier League, given the competitiveness of the league, the levels, the quality of all teams, and the fact that lately the gap between the haves and the have-nots has grown small, it's now a battle of fine margins. You've got to bury your chances when you get them. Now, we know that even if it's early into the season, these chances that we missed will be ruled. We shall rule these chances, so many chances that we create if we continue like this, creating and giving a false hope that we are almost there, but we are not burying the chances. Trust you me, we are going to get into a situation where we regret. We are saying we could have or would have. And it won't matter whether this is the first season with Ineos and, of course, the new recruits we brought in. I think the fact that we have created those chances, the expectation should be that strikers at a club like Man United should be good enough to bury more of them, or most of them, or a decent amount of them. So it's a bit of a headache, and Eric Ten Hag too alluded to the fact that that's what they have been trying to work on. At least now there is a semblance of patterns, a semblance of understanding and knowledge of each other, a semblance of cohesion in the team, and it's a good step. But with the Premier League and the intensity of the games now, even the Europa League, where we're playing two more games in this round, it's you don't really have the time really to go so long without getting as clinical as you should be. So it's sort of an interesting situation, but the solutions are being found now. For me, question is, where is the solution? For me, the first thing in his creativity that Eric Ten Hag has got to do is to try to find ways of getting a defined finisher and sharpen them. It won't make sense if we continue to try to solve the blunt problem because we are blunt. Our problem is being blunt now. We cannot try to sharpen what we have not identified. You need to identify your target man and sharpen them. And to do so, you've got to play them consistently and give them room to be improved. My disquiet with Eric Ten Hag is seeming to create an impression that the Marcus Rashfords and Garnachos, who by the way score important goals, but they should not be the guys who carry the load of scoring goals, because if that continues to happen, it's going to end up killing the confidence of Rasmus Hojlund, our number 9. But also, he's going to end up not being forced not to use him and end up playing Marcus Rashford as a false 9. So what needs to be done is to focus on sharpening Rasmus Hojlund, because in his first season, even before the arrival of Ruud van Nistelrooy, he showed his potential. Now, there are people who have been questioning how good a striker or a number 9 that Rasmus Hojlund can be. But I'll tell you, for me, I think he proved to me in his first season that he can be a sharp striker. Guys, it's not easy for you to join from Atalanta, join a club like Manchester United at his age, and in your first season playing in a work squad like it was, score 17 goals when you're playing with a bunch of selfish players. Hojlund proved to us that he can be a good finisher. It's a matter of trusting him, and you only show that trust by putting him there. The longer we keep confusing ourselves and not being decided just because on one good day Rashford scored the press or Garnacho and all, we are confusing and killing the potential of a £72 million striker who we know, for me, and I'll say it without fear of missing my words, Hojlund, given the right atmosphere, can even be as good as Erling Haaland. I will say it without fear of missing my words. I think he's a more complete footballer than Haaland. And that's Haaland now is the benchmark of a good number 9. If you can't be compared against Haaland, you're good. So I can try to compare them because Haaland is in a better squad. They create better chances for him. But Hojlund, in terms of being complete, how he involves himself in play, his link-up play, he's dropping back and picking the ball back to the goal and stuff, power, energy, he's good. So I think he can quite be as good a finisher as Haaland, given the right space, the trust, the belief. So if that is going to happen, we've got to keep playing him for as long as he's fit. So I hate the confusion. Zagzi can play his 9.5, come in and play because he's a smart player. His deft touches can only help Hojlund to get better. It's a big job for Eric Ten Hag to try and find the right integration of the two players. But what is the given and what should be a given is that our solution in terms of goals is in Rasmus Hojlund. My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe. Give me your 2 cents about it. Catch you later, fam.